Crystal blue waters, white sandy beaches, and some of the most beautiful real estate in the world. What are we talking about? Paradise in the Turks and Caicos. Let's go. For centuries, we have migrated from one place to another, driven by seasonal changes, climate change, or economic forces. Today, we are seeing human migration driven by innovation and technology. This new breed of nomads are seeking lifestyle and peace of mind. I'm your host, Julie Faupel, global founder of Realm, and I've spent my entire career in the luxury space. Together, we're going to examine the great lifestyle migration and the stewards of real estate that help facilitate a safe haven for these new residents. We are in the most dynamic housing market of all time. This is Location Lux. Today, I'm in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I am being transported to the Turks and Caicos with Sean O'Neill. Sean, hi, it's great to see you.
Hey, Julie, it's great to see you too on, a cold winter's day here in the Turks and Caicos with a
oh my gosh, it looks miserable.
I know.
My heart goes out to you.
It's hard to see a bad day on Grace Bay Beach. And, thankfully you guys are here on a beautiful afternoon.
Oh my gosh, well, it's stunning. So is it true, Sean, are you really locally born? Or you must be the only one?
No, there's quite a few of us here now, but yeah, there's definitely a small group of people who can say they were born in the Turks and Caicos Islands. One of my business partners, Trevor, I always kind of wind him up about the fact that he was born in the Bahamas and I was born here. And my parents, moved out here off the back of an ad in the Irish Times to get it for a job. And, from that, they stayed longer than the 3 years they anticipated to. And my brothers were born here. I was born here. And now, my two sons, my nieces, my nephew, have all been born here. So we have 3 generations O'Neill sitting here on this tiny rock out in the ocean.
That is amazing. What was the ad for?
It was for a lawyer. My dad was practicing in Dublin and it was, not great times in Ireland. They saw an ad in the paper. He went down for the interview. It went well and they decided they'd give it 3 years. They'd never live anywhere else. And I think, I've been lucky. I managed to live abroad and come back. But I think, we've managed to really make this a home for all of our family.
Did you happen to get out at any point during your life for education or otherwise? I mean, you seem so worldly, and definitely your Irish brogue was probably not totally curated in the Turks and Caicos.
No, that's true. When I was 3 months old, my parents signed me up for boarding school in Ireland, and I went out when I was 12. I don't think I had any idea when I was 12 what I was actually getting myself in for. But I went to secondary school there. I went to university in Dublin. I like to say I've worked the trifecta of dirty jobs. I've worked in politics, law, and real estate. I worked in the European Parliament. I worked for a member of the Dublin City Council before going to law school and then turning over to the legal side and moving back here in 2011 with my wife. So definitely an opportunity to, see different parts of the world. And I think it definitely has helped me as a person in growing to be able to have had those experiences.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can imagine, just having that global perspective. And I guess, when you think about politics and law, real estate is such a natural, I mean, you're impossible to offend, right?
It's definitely all advisory. It's all advisory work. That's how I look at it.
Tell me what brought you into real estate. How did that exactly transition?
I was working as a lawyer here after I moved back with my wife. And so primarily I was a real estate and commercial lawyer. And when I first got into it, we had our own small brokerage, in-house. And it was to start off, it was to generate legal clients. The idea being, you tap into people before they buy, and then that will, produce more clients down the road. And so it was primarily as a buyer's agent, but I enjoyed doing it. I really enjoy the creative and marketing side of things. And so over time, that kind of, built up to a point where I made the decision to step out of law and go into real estate full time. Expand
on that a little bit, Sean, from the standpoint of how you evolved the business just based on the demands and how that has resulted in, it sounds like, more tourism and more sales for the Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, I mean, they say about, when Cortez got to the Americas and he burned his ships to make sure his crew knew they had to make it or not. And sometimes I feel like that's kind of where I ended up, with real estate, having kind of made my stand as to the direction I was going to go. And, we went from a quieter time this last year, and it started to pick up around, this time of year, going Thanksgiving into Christmas and New Year's. And then it just went absolutely crazy after that. We didn't have that great migration in the same sense that you guys had in North America, because it wasn't as easy for people to travel. And so we had a steady market last year. And then January, February, people starting to come back down here. And of course, what's the most important thing for everyone right now is to lead the best quality of life that they can. And so that has driven a lot more people to continue to buy abroad. And especially, Turks and Caicos, we're gifted with, beautiful water, amazing beaches, but we have an incredibly strong infrastructural network that supports us. So if you want to work remotely, you can. We have excellent internet, a stable power system, and we have, homes that are just to die for.
Where are you right now? I think, aren't you in one of your listings right now?
So yeah, we're in Wymara Resort right now on beautiful Grace Bay Beach. We have an office here and we represent a number of properties here at the resort, as well as the incredible Wymara Villas located just about 8 minutes away on the Caicos banks. So we're very lucky that we get to represent beautiful properties like this that really set the standard for resorts here on Grace Bay Beach.
I tell people a lot of times, it's not like our job is that hard, Sean. You go to a beautiful place and you fall in love with it.
Yeah, I always say that, we sell wants, not needs. The market here operates very differently. It's not that we have someone who needs to move from one city to another for a job, or who wants to be in a better school district, or needs to move into a bigger home because they have a larger family. We have people who are looking at investment properties, second homes. So the dynamic is quite different. And it always surprises a lot of my American colleagues when I tell them, like, prior to COVID, our average list to sale period was 18 months. And
wow.
One of the big reasons for that is that we have a changing group of buyers every single week. And when properties are occupied, it's even in COVID times where people have video tours and virtual tours and everything else, most people want to be in the property first before they buy it. And so if you have a resort like Wymara and the units are all full and you can't get into the property, you might miss your window with your buyer who's there, and you have to kind of work through that period.
It sounds like people are coming from all over now, now that the borders are becoming more open and people are traveling more and feeling more at ease. What type of product can they expect to find when they come to the Turks and Caicos?
We're still a relatively undeveloped country in comparison to a lot of our other Caribbean neighbors, but the bread and butter is still condominiums and high-end villas. About 10 years ago, the villa sector really kind of took off. And so Wymara, where we are right now, is a great example. We have the condominium resort on Grace Bay Beach, and we also have the villas, which are a short drive away. So that's a 15-acre gated community with the most amazing sports club you're going to see in the Turks and Caicos Islands. We have 7 of the villas constructed, with 5 in phase 2. And really, they are the high point of luxury here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. We have beautiful hand-cut local stone, like you can see behind me here. And the villas have even started to put in, some of the additional luxuries that people are starting to demand, like a water slide at one of the properties that goes straight into the ocean. And I think, this is the type of model where we have an incredibly high-end service being catered to both the resort and the villas, and then an impeccable finish and standard that really drives everything in the islands.
When you're taking a client around or helping them to get acclimated to the area, you've got to be partaking in some of the lifestyle there yourself. So what do you love to do? And what are some of the highlights that you like to point out to your clients?
If you're going to be in the Turks and Caicos, it's all about the outdoor activity lifestyle. We don't have a really strong nightlife like you'd find in Miami and places like that. We have serenity. We have beautiful beaches. If you want to go fishing, we have world-class fishing just offshore. We have some of the best diving in the world. And of course, Grace Bay Beach is constantly ranked the best, if not one of the best beaches in the world all the time. So paddleboarding, kayaking, snorkeling, just last Friday, I had to go out to a development site that I have listed for sale for a prospective purchaser and go snorkeling in the water to show him where all the coral heads were, just so he knew that he could walk off of this piece of land and go snorkeling right away. So we get to do some unique things, both in terms of, what we do normally and also what we do for our clients when they're looking at a property.
I want to get to your lifestyle for a second. I understand that you are the most decorated rugby player in the Turks and Caicos. Is that right?
Yeah, I have the most international appearances for the Turks and Caicos at rugby. I've played since I went to boarding school at 12. I've played rugby, so 25 plus years now. I really enjoy it. In the Caribbean, it's great because we get to go to other countries and play against them. So we've been to Bermuda, Mexico, Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, Barbados. And so it's great to go and see those countries, and I enjoy traveling, so that kind of adds to it. And then, rugby is a really great sport because it caters to everyone. You have the speedy players who are out on the wing, and you have the bigger, slower, more physical guys like me who are up front. So no, it's a lot of fun, and we do a lot of great work here with our rugby program. We've had kids that we've worked with, and we've sent them off on scholarship to go to the United States. We've had other guys who've gone for professional trials. So the whole community here has done a great amount around the rugby club, and I'm very proud to be a part of that.
That is so awesome. And I mean, you're just describing the circuit of all of the other destinations that you get to go to. I mean, I'll sign up, I mean, in Wyoming, we don't have nearly the spots that you get to tour to. We get to go to like Cody or Cheyenne.
We were actually training with a guy from Wyoming last week. He was down here in his Wyoming shirt.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, see, I mean, you've done something right, I think, when you can be on that rugby circuit. But so how do you think rugby has helped you in your business?
So I used to be the captain, and I used to help out coaching the team as well. And obviously with, 23 guys in the team that plays on a Saturday, as well as the other guys who are in the squad, you have to be able to manage all the different types of personalities that are there. And, some people like myself, if you yell at me when I'm doing something wrong, I'm probably going to try and correct myself because that's just in my nature. Other people, you really have to, go one-on-one with them. If you yell at them in front of other people, they'll go back into their shell. And that's the same way in terms of working with other agents, working with prospective listing clients or with buyers, is that you have to know, what is it that they react to? How do you manage both their expectations and the way in which they want to be communicated with?
I'll say it's just like this amazing recipe, where you've got kind of the patience and the strategy of an athlete. You've got kind of the mind of an attorney. I mean, you really, I'm sure as people are coming to the Turks and Caicos, you kind of offer them that luxury of peace of mind.
The first thing that we do is that we are advisors. And so when people come and speak to me and they find out, okay, I was born here, so that means they know that I'm aware of lots more things that went on here than, say, someone who's just arrived. But then with a legal background, I can comfortably guide them through what it is that the purchase process is going to be, because it does operate differently here to the United States. We're not a market where you can walk in and just put, 5 or 10% down and finance the rest. And so, people really need to have confidence buying abroad. And so I think that with all the different attributes that I have, it really helps buyers kind of guide them through the process. And then sellers know that, when they list a property with the agency, we're going to do our utmost to represent it to the highest standard. And we're also going to push the boundaries. As I said, video is something that we are really heavy on. It's not always something that everyone feels comfortable, being on camera. I know I don't all the time, but I know that at the end of the day, that's what we need to do to give the best service to our client. And at the end of the day, we're sitting in beautiful places like this. So it doesn't matter if I'm on camera, no one's looking at me, everyone's looking at the property.
I think it's important, when you think about kind of competitive sports and you as a professional, those two things kind of go hand in hand, because you're pushing the boundaries in your work. And then, that's all been trained by how you treat your team, on the field.
Yeah. And the other great thing about rugby is that, it's an incredibly physical sport, and, you're beating each other up for 80 minutes, but you all go to the bar and have a beer afterwards. And so that's part of that's one of the things that I think some people miss in business, is that, yes, a negotiation is a combative element, but, it can't be a personal combative element, particularly amongst the professionals who are advising along the way. That's a big part of our job, is to check the emotions, deliver for our clients. But at the end of the day, we have to have good relationships with the other people who we're working with, because this transaction will be over at some stage, and we have to be able to work together going forward.
That's it. I think that that's so important, to remember. And sometimes it gets lost. It's that we're community builders, and that means not just the community on the outside, but also within the industry, and how we treat each other is critical. Thanks for bringing me into your community and showing me that rugby can be a business model. I had no idea, but you're defining that there in the Turks and Caicos. So thanks again. And it's been such a pleasure to have you here on Location Lux.
Thank you for having me, Julie. I just hope next time we do this, it'll be in person and we can take you around, show you the sights, and maybe we'll throw you into a game of rugby as well.
No, next time I will make sure that I come to you. So it's a great excuse to escape the cold of the mountains and to come to the incredible beaches there. Thanks so much, Sean. Bye.
Bye.